slips in, it slips in. Okay, buddy. Nice clean set here. You got it.
You're watching live coverage of the World Junior Curling Championships 2025. We're in Cortina d'Ampezzo in Italy. Our feature matchup, Canada versus Japan. It's the last game in the round robin. And it's been a game of everything. Rona Howie alongside Ross White, and we really have had everything, Ross, in this first 5 ends. Japan leading 3-0 and now Canada leading 4-3.
Yeah, Team Canada did really well to get back into this game. They gave up 3 points early on in the game with a steal of 2, and to then come back and be leading at half time, they'll be really impressed with their ability to bounce back here. So be looking to put on a really good second half and try and close out this game and continue where the form they really got to in those last 3 ends.
Yeah, so if Canada win and Korea win, they would both be on the same win-loss record. But because Canada beat Korea in the round robin, Canada would go ahead. So they could qualify. So it's all still to play for. Max Cinnamon, 80% for the game. Similar to his tournament average.
Line's good. Line's good. Wait on me. Okay, wait on me. You can bump on this line. Hard. 53. 53.
The sweepers here working really hard to try and get this all the way to that yellow stone in the rings, and do a very good job of carrying it as far as they could. Giving each other a pat in the back there. Some good camaraderie, keep each other going throughout this long, tough week.
KIMURA Yuta, 70% for the game. Just slightly down on his tournament average.
Trying to freeze on top of that red stone at the top 8 foot, but sliding a touch deep and leaving that pocket for Team Canada to play a draw into. And
wait, like, where do you roll though? Like here?
Can we just get nose?
Well, then they just go nose back.
Okay, I like freezing then. Okay.
Like, unless you want to make this.
Okay, not either. I don't mind the freeze. I like the freeze for now. Yeah. Freeze bump's okay. You know the weight.
playing the freeze here really makes it tricky for Team Japan to create that scoring zone and gives them less space.
Michael Kenan, 88%, having a great game this evening.
Wait on Lee. It's running. Running. Bumping. Backboard. Curl then. Curl if you're bumping.
T-line.
Curl if you're bumping.
T-line.
Curl if you're bumping.
T-line.
Hard. 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 Hard.
T-line.
Hard. Okay. That's okay.
That's good.
You heard the communication there between the skip and the sweepers. When the skip started shouting about the stone running and staying a bit straighter than they were hoping for, it really gives an indication to the sweepers that potentially it's running a little bit straighter because it's a touch heavy. So giving them the chance to have a look and make sure the weight is exactly what they're after.
TAKEMURA Riku, very consistent numbers for the game and the tournament. 73%. Trying to get to the inside of the red. Very nicely done.
A lovely shot there to remove the redstone and get underneath the guard.
Can you get there with board? Try and kill this one.
Team Canada are going to try and remove these stones at the top of the rings to give themselves a better opportunity to try and put the pressure back on Japan here.
Let's chase the board. What do we get from it? You get good angles.
If you get close to nose, it spins them all to here. Just board.
Board, I like board here. We can manage it pretty good here. Yeah.
And if you take the guard, it's not bad.
You got it, buddy. Nice board here.
And both teams are not over generous on time, on their time clock, because there was so much discussion in the first few ends of the game. So they'll just need to keep an eye on that.
With Team Canada also using their timeout early on, they don't have that option later on in the game if they do start to get really close on time. But there will be someone assigned in the team to keep an eye on that time clock, make sure when they are having those long discussions that they're not taking too long.
So when you get to the 10th end, what's your preferred bank of time to have?
Preferably about 15 minutes, but having at least 4 minutes to feel like you can play every shot with enough time and be able to have a good conversation, especially when the end gets tight and the game's really in the balance. You don't want to be rushing at any point, so you can do your same pre-shot routine for every shot.
If you can get this one, that's good too.
Yeah.
You like peel?
Yeah.
Kai Macaulay, 58% for this evening's game. Bit down on his tournament average. But that will help. Great double.
A very well played shot there. We haven't seen many really up-weight shots here in this game so far. Both teams very happy to play the touch shots. Just move stones about. But when called upon, made very well there. So we will see Team Japan here try and apply the pressure again, opting to play the draw in, try and make the angles really good behind that centre guard. Sweeper's having to work it hard here, trying to get it by the guard and create the speed to try and get it into the rings. And a very good job at that.
Like this now?
Creating an angle on all the stones in the centre line, making it hard to get rid of any of them.
Yeah, I like control. Should be a good board. Yeah, I like this.
So Kai Macaulay just going to use his own red to tap back.
Whoa, whoa. Yep. Whoa. Yep. 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 Hard. 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 Hard.
Again, choosing that less weight, even though it's a run back, choosing a weight that they can bring the sweepers into every shot and allow the line call to be made more effectively. And a nice shot made keeping both stones in the rings here.
Shunta.
Michitani Hinata, 89%, having a great game this evening, above his tournament average. So a chance for Japan to lie 2. Ah, nicely done.
No mistakes there. Even getting a little roll underneath that red stone, using it as a guard, even though it's in the rings. Team Canada will try and use that stone, try and roll in behind the centre guards, make it really difficult for Team Japan to score.
Should move to the corner, okay.
Yeah, it moves nice.
Yeah.
Nice 10-5.
So first off, the skip stones. On the 6th end, Kenan with 68% for the game, just slightly down on his tournament average.
Little heavy.
But a chance here to make a good roll.
Yep. Straight. Straight.
Hard.
Straight. Hard.
Not anticipating the curl as much there. They were on and off it for most of the way, and then it seemed to curl a lot more than they were expecting.
So now, Ross, where did Japan want to roll to make it as difficult as possible for Canada?
So they're going to look to roll underneath that centre guard and the yellow. The only concern with this is they potentially might roll to the back of the button. If this has happened, then all of a sudden Team Canada will have the opportunity to get out of this end and potentially set up a steal. So potentially playing more weight here to try and keep the stone higher in the rings.
NAKAHARA Toa, 78% for tonight's game, above his tournament average. Looking for the roll. Oh my goodness. Rolls too far. And we've seen that a couple of times from him, just throwing more weight than we've seen from Canada and just rolling out.
It's like it's just a little hard to get to a good spot.
Yeah. I just really like
Not quite managing the stone as well as the Team Canada in the second half of the game so far.
but I really like
But they have got a nice stone set up there behind the centre guard. That's going to make it really difficult for Team Canada to chase, and potentially might have to slot a draw in behind both of them.
We just need half of the 8 foot to get a shot.
We could just draw wide.
Yeah, like I really like a draw pass here.
What?
Well, that's pretty tough.
Could
Like,
you,
we're thinking either draw or tap.
you like to tap? Okay.
Okay. Yeah, we just need half the one.
Team Canada talking about trying to get the stone into the forfeit here, but deciding what's the easiest shot for them to achieve this.
Maybe a little more.
So they could play the draw round, they could play the tap.
Yeah.
None of the shots are
D-line's good enough.
on paths that they've thrown a lot of shots on, so
If I give you the
trying to
same
decide where
draw
they
last
can
time,
make the
we
best judgment on how that path will run. So the tap is being played here by Kenan Width.
And there is options with this shot as well, of where it taps to. As long as they lie short at the end of it,
Curl.
they would love to keep it guarded.
They could tap it behind their stone they're about to play, or behind the yellow stone.
Tap it under. Curl.
Almost caught in the middle there, potentially leaving it right in the gap.
That was really unlucky.
A very good effort there. The weight was absolutely perfect. It was just needed to curl a touch more or just hang that little bit straighter. but leaving the opportunity here for Team Japan to try and score 2 in the 6th end here.
Last stone of the 6th end. Nakahara Toa, a chance to score 2. This is high of line. Will it curl enough? Oh, it does. Sweepers stand back, but it's all good at the end of the day. And it is a 2 on the board for Japan. So they will take the lead now, 5-4 after 6.
Wrap around this. Just make sure we have a score here.
Yep. Eye up.
A good score of 2 by Japan at the 6th end. And a good position for them now. They were 3 up, Ross. They got back to being 1 down in the game and now have that 1 up advantage, but scoring at 6, 8 and 10 key in the second half of the game.
It definitely is. And their heads could have easily dropped there going into this second half, but a good chat with some experienced players and coaches on the bench has got them back into this game, and now they have the lead going into the last 4 ends.
So Canada not calling for the corner guard here?
No, they seem to be playing around the centre. They've been very comfortable with that all game. Potentially looking to try and score multiple points. And if they don't score multiple points, they would love to try and get away this end with a blank.
You may see all the scores. Italy now 3-2 up on Korea. Japan 5-4 up on Canada. Scotland 4-2 up on Germany. Norway 6-4 up on United States. We know Italy, Norway, Scotland have qualified, but that 4th spot is still up for grabs.
Team Canada tried to come round that centre guard and try and leave it in the top of the rings, but slipping a touch deep, allowing Japan to play this freeze.
And so often in this game by both teams we've seen that shot being high of line.
Just a touch too much running, too heavy, and you just cut out with the line and the weight. So Team Canada looking to capitalise on this and try and place another stone right round that centre guard.
Hey, tight. Tight. Line's good. Line's good. Wait on me. Switch. Wait on me.
Sweepers working really hard on this one to try and get it into the right spot.
So when they call switch like that, why are they doing that? What do they want to achieve?
So they're trying to get it right underneath that centre guard, and what they're believing is happening is it's running too straight, and they're trying to get it to curl enough to be under the guard. The problem sometimes when you're playing a draw and you're trying to get underneath a guard and it's not getting behind it, you then all of a sudden find that the weight doesn't get carried as far. So really looking to try and navigate when to curl and when not to curl is an important part of the weight callers and the sweepers job.
I like that. You have to throw like firm though.
So Canada in a good position with the Reds under cover.
Curl. Curl.
Curl, buddy. Yeah, you got it. Go. You got it. Come on.
Curl.
Come on.
Team Canada opting to play a bit more weight here and try and roll on top of their red, but that stays in a really nice position for them, right on top of that yellow stone.
And now Japan living dangerously. Canada have got last stone at this end. So are building up a really good head.
Team Canada with that stone at the top of the 8 foot behind the centre guard, making it very difficult to be removed at any time soon without playing that run back. So as you say, they're playing with fire here, trying to play this freeze.
The coach's bench look quite worried.
They do. The Japanese team have been happy to play a lot of draws and keep a lot of stones in play. We've seen that in the first 2-3 ends, so sticking to their game plan here and potentially playing to their strengths.
This one must be there.
Yes.
And a lovely played stone there to try and get it all the way to the top of the button.
And right now Canada won't be too bothered if they lose their back red.
Almost acting as a catcher right now, so potentially trying to get rid of both the yellow and red stone and leave themselves with that stone under the top of the 8th foot.
So Michael Keenan clearing things up.
Not quite removing the Japanese stone there, but moving it far enough to bring that top 8 stone that's undercover back into play.
Yeah, the noise in the building right now tonight with all these air horns, the players are struggling to hear each other. You need to start using hand signals. So decision made. MICHITANI Hinata. Just trying to play the hit and roll off the red shot stone.
And rolls to a great spot. Almost using that red stone top of the 8 foot as a guard. Forcing Team Canada to have to play the run back.
Kai Macaulay struggled in the first 5 ends tonight. Okay. That's ended up not a bad place for Canada because the doubles there.
They also rolled to a corner guard to potentially give themselves a different option in this end to try and score multiple points.
Japan qualified out the junior Bs for this World Championship.
いやあんまロールしたくないんだ。
They've never medalled at the World Junior Men's.
And here we see that switch up of play, trying to use that corner guard that they've just rolled to. Try and create a bit of space in this end. Potentially open up their scoring zone.
Clean. Straight. 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 Hard. Hard. Any roll. Any roll. Hey, that's good.
Not quite making the roll, but very happy with how it's set up. For Team Canada here, there is going to be some multiple takeouts available to them to try and score with that top 8 stone.
1, 2, 3作れる。ステイすればね。本当。
So does Japan want to roll in behind that red, on top of the other yellow here?
So currently they discussed just playing on the nose, trying to stay where they are. If they were to roll in, it might allow Canada to play that red stone back and roll away, so trying to keep a little bit of separation here. It's going to be really tough for Team Japan to remove that red that they've just tapped.
I just think that sets up a pretty easy double. That's my first.
Yeah, using the red onto yellow right now looks the sensible shot, but then you just leave a double for Japan.
I know.
Right now it's extremely difficult for Team Japan to remove that red stone, so rolling off the stone they're talking about underneath, in behind that corner guard is what they're going to be looking to try and achieve here.
Board? Yeah, I think make the hit and roll behind the corner. I know that it's not ideal, but it's kind of hard to
They
make
always have that
double.
in-off double available to them, Team Canada. So trying to place this in a very hard spot for Team Japan.
Kenan whiff. Does have last stone at this end, really trying to generate multiple score. Wanted to go behind the corner, but changing their mind. And that's a very good plan B.
It brings both those red stones quite close together, but the yellow stones potentially acting as catchers and making it really difficult to try and get rid of both zones. A good call there by the third, halfway down the sheet, to try and change where they were rolling to.
こっちそこにフリーズしたらこれで3点だよ
Not a lot of chat, they're all just standing staring at the moment.
出しとけば2点で終わる
They will call their timeout. Kobayashi, Hirofumi will make their way from the other end.
まあうまくいけばだけどね。
芯はダメだな跳ねるか芯よりちょっとこっち行かないと
Would you play the double, Ross?
If they believe that both stones could go, I think that's their best way to try and stop the multiple score.
でも芯やったら相手も難しいですよね。これが隠れるんで。
まあそうね
まあワンチャンこうですね。あ、ウェイトは 8かトップですか。したら 8？
一応には外に当たってとりあえずここだけとりあえず出れば相手は2点だから
8ね。
So timeout over. Decision made.
I think they're going to try and play this double takeout. I think they just need to watch out that the red stone doesn't touch the yellow stone behind it first. Otherwise it'll create a reaction where it goes straight sideways into the other yellow stone here. So very accurate stone required.
Nakahara, Toa. Big weight. Trying to remove both reds. Sweeper's trying to hold the line. Oh, disaster. It overcurled. And all of a sudden, Canada lie 2 and have a draw for 3. That was so close to being perfect.
Yeah.
But it's all about millimetres in this game.
Just over curling. Arguably missing that on the other side of the stone would have made sure they killed one of the other stones. So potentially missing that one on the wrong side.
Last stone of the 7th end. Canada lie 2. It's a draw to the 4 foot to score 3. Sweepers seem pretty happy.
Whoa, line's fine, line's fine. Straight. Line's fine. Line's fine. Let it sit. You got it.
Yep, you've got it. You're right. It is a score of 3. And now Canada, they take a 2-point lead. 7-5. They lead Japan after 7.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
And let's still make sure we're like we
Top
should.
4? We should be okay. Kenan. Top 4?
Yeah.
I love the top 4. Down up 2 now. We can play with a little bit of patience. 2 hammers to 1. Would love a steal here. Steal or force. Steal or force or blank. 1, 1 or 0. No multiple. No multiples. Blank's okay. Steal's good. Good. Blank is a peach. Yeah. Steal is even better.
You're watching live coverage of the World Junior Curling Championships 2025. Our feature matchup, Canada versus Japan. It is the last game of the round robin. Canada still have a chance of qualifying for the playoffs. 10 teams started the round robin. The top 4 progressed to the semi-finals. And a big score of 3 for Canada in the 7th end to take a 2-point lead. And you just feel, Ross, now, Canada, their stone placement is much sharper tonight than Japan.
Yes, Team Japan started off really well. But Team Canada have really grown into this game after those first 2 ends, really got hold of the ice and started to place some really good stones here, and quite happy with all the play to be in the rings, try and start taking as many of the Japanese stones out and trying to keep them to single points if they can.
And there we see the comparisons of the leads. Max Cinnamon 83%, KIMURA Yuta 71. KIMURA's hits just 50% tonight. Whereas Max Cinnamon 96% for 7 hits. It's not often you see 7 hits for a lead.
Not often at all, no, but clearly has that skill set when required, which is great to see. Potentially plays a bit of mixed doubles. Maybe gets the chance of playing a bit more hitting in that game. But with those two stones perfectly lined up there on the centre line, he's had a great game so far. So Team Japan changing up their tactics from most of the other ends and trying to use their corner guard straight away, trying to generate this multiple score.
Yep, and it is the 8th end. If Japan can score their 2 here, we're all tied. As we can see, Italy, Korea all tied, 3-all. Scotland 5-2 up on Germany. And they've brought Jake McDonald, their alternate player, on. And Norway, United States, 7-all. So very close games this evening. And all games are important. You want to be in the top 4 for playoffs, but also you want to be in the top 6 to qualify for Worlds for next year. They can't remove that from play. Oh, it does just touch the barrier, so it will be replaced.
You've seen Team Japan trying to sweep that stone out there to make sure that they could get their corner guard back in play. And that's where placing your corner guard so tight to the rings and then making the come around makes it so much harder for the opposition team.
You can see that second players, Michael Kenan 75 to TAKEMURA Riku 77, so very close battle. Michael Keenan's draws though 91% tonight. Great numbers. And this is a stone we see so often. It's key to hold the shooter.
Definitely, as if you can roll into the rings or roll as another corner guard. But now we will see Team Canada clear this end up and try and get out of here by keeping Japan to not scoring more than 1 point.
To watch the yellow on the side, no problem, goes through it, because it could have rebounded back into the house.
But not quite going for what they were after in that shot. They were trying to remove the corner guard and roll out of play themselves. So here we will see that guard being used as a corner guard here. Japan working this hard to try and get it underneath that corner guard, but also needing to go for weight to try and get it into the rings, and they have done that. A great sweep there. And a change of tactics here by Team Canada, starting to hit the stones in the rings rather than the guards. Potentially seeing an opportunity to try and get underneath both those yellow and red stone and not set up any double hits.
Yep, Canada lie too. Good separation. And there we see the comparison of the third players, and Michitani Hinata definitely got advantage over Kai Macaulay this evening. Trying to get the roll here, but doesn't fully bury. So now Canada will try for the roll.
If Canada were to make the roll here, it's going to be extremely difficult to remove before the end of the end. So, an important shot here to put the pressure back onto Japan.
Kai doesn't look too happy with this, but it looks okay. He seems to be a bit frustrated by that. But important to lie too. He just didn't want to leave the double, but that's not easy.
He's definitely rolled enough so there is no double. He potentially still leaves the hit and roll and makes it slightly harder for a skip if this is made.
So had quite a few attempts for this hit and roll, and neither team are managing it so far. And this one's definitely not rolling in the way.
Now that it is so high up in the rings though, if Team Canada do not make the roll, the potential for a double takeout to lie 2 might be there. So this is an important roll now, even just to get any of the stone underneath the 2 guards.
First of the skip stones at this 8th end. Kenan Whiff looking for the inside roll. And again, no inside roll. I think maybe yellow second shot, do you think?
It's very close. The first suggestion there from Team Japan was that it would be the yellow stone, and that makes a big difference in this end.
And they've watched so many stones, both sides, going down that track. And it is a case of taking less ice and believing that's right, or play less weight.
Definitely agree, Rona. The problem they had there was when the stone was crossing the far hog line, the sweepers seemed to suggest the weight was just too much. So potentially good for all, but...
And both skips having a real battle. 73 for Kenan Whiff and Nakahara Toa, 71.
Does stay around there and potentially lies those 2 stones, so an opportunity here for Canada, with Japan staying where they are, to try and roll underneath the yellow and the red stone, making it very difficult for Team Japan to remove and score 2 points here.
And Nakahara really wanted to roll out to the left to make the roll harder.
And if he makes the roll to the left, because it's rolling down the house, it's going to make the Canadian roll go even further down to allow the tap to be easier.
So Japan line 2. Kenan Whiff looking for a roll behind cover. Here it comes. Is it enough? No, it doesn't bury. So it does leave the opportunity for Japan to tie this game up.
And on the exact same line that Team Japan just seen, so expect this will be very close.
But we have seen Nakahara overthrow quite a few of the hits tonight. Last stone of the 8th end, a chance to level this game up. Nose hit for 2.
Sweepers are right off this one. Waiting for it to curl. It seems to be getting back to the nose.
No problem. And they'll just have a look to check who is second. And Kai McCauley nearly called the measure, but has conceded 2. So this game all square. 7-all after 8.
Floating, so let's just try and give him a draw or a peel blank.
Yeah. Did you fill up?
We have over 4 minutes per end, so
sweet.
take your time in the hack. Don't rush the process here. We need 8 for 8 and 8, so take what you need.
Our feature matchup, Canada versus Japan, a must-win game for Canada to qualify for the playoffs. And this game has had everything. Japan were 3-0 up after 2 ends. But Canada fought back hard in a big score of 3-7 to take the lead. But now we're all square. 2 ends to play. 1 hammer each. Do Canada want to try and blank this end?
Playing this 9th end, they'll be looking to try and score a multiple or try and hold the hammer going into the final end. So they're definitely going to have to pick a strategy halfway through this end and commit to it and try and force Japan to give them exactly what they want, really.
44. Just bite the 4.
Easy then.
The line's fine enough. It's good enough. It's good, easy.
Japan have just got over 6 minutes, so they don't have a huge amount of time on the clock for 2 ends.
Canada there were quite happy to not fully bury that stone and choosing to make sure the distance was better than the line to make it more difficult for Japan to lock one underneath that centre guard.
KIMURA Yuta struggled with the line in this game. It's always been on the high side, and there we see it again. Just that fraction heavy.
Sometimes those stones that get lost in the back of the rings at the start of the end can often come back and contribute towards the end of the end, and as they don't get taken out at the start.
Max Cinnamon, 91% on his 16 draws.
Line's good. Wheat's good. Let it work.
Very good numbers has set up the end so well for Canada.
Let it work. Wheat's good.
Really nice.
Michael's clean. Just get the weight right. Michael's clean.
You can go.
Just get the weight right. Line's fine. Line's fine.
And he continues that fine form here in N9. Angling both those red stones so it will go straight back onto the yellow stone in the back of rings if they are hit.
So TAKEMURA Riku just really wants to play the same weight as his lead played and just get to the nose and tap. This one's really curling early. Oh dear.
Now Team Canada will have the opportunity to try and remove both these centre guards. They could potentially go round and go behind those centre guards and try and apply the pressure to Japan, but choosing to continue to keep that blank opportunity alive here.
91% for draws for Michael Keenan tonight. And there's a great hit. Opens up the whole centre. Now Japan have got no cover to work with. %75% for Takemura Riku on his draws, 63% for his 6 hits.
Japan trying to move these stones, try and create some sort of pocket, making it really difficult for Canada to remove the yellow stones.
It gets to the stage where Japan, how hard do they push? Because they don't want to lose a big end at this stage.
It does. They don't want to lose a big end, but they're so conscious that if they were to allow Canada to blank this end, the stats for the team winning all of a sudden become less of an opportunity. So potential here to play the triple takeout, try and lie with 2 counters in the rings.
So Japan looking to move some granite. Oh, and jams the back one. Does remove 2. But now Canada have the corner guard. They could draw round to go for their 2, but deciding now it might be the blank they're happy to take.
So Team Canada prefer the idea of being all square with the last stone advantage in the final end, rather than taking their effort at 2 points here.
Who's the players all going, whoa. So Japan play the freeze and try and force the error out of Canada here.
It looks like they're going to play the hit.
Sweeper's working hard to hold this.
It's going to be key for Team Japan to keep sticking about with these hits, trying to make it difficult for Canada to come out of this end with an easy blank, make them have to play their last shot.
Can you call it? 63% for draws and 67 for hits. So first of the skip stones at this 9th end. Nakahara Toa just playing the hit. Slightly lower in his hits tonight, 61%, 83 for his 9 draws. But as the game's gone on, he's played a lot more consistent weights with his hits and managing to hold the shooter.
He's definitely grown into this game.
Kenan whiff. He'll be quite happy with the situation, seeing Japan playing the hits and not the freezes. 50% on his draws, but 92% on his hits. So Japan want to change the positioning here to just make it trickier for Canada to blank.
Team Canada just seen the takeout on the other side of the sheet, so taking them over to the left hand side as we look at it.
This needs to sit down, and it does. So last stone of the 9th end. Canada have played out this end for the blank. And now Kenan whiff needs to execute. Cleans a good sound. And no problem. It is a blank. So score will remain 7-all, and Canada will have that all-important hammer playing 10.
Lay down the hammer.
You're watching live coverage of the World Junior Curling Championships 2025, and our feature matchup, Canada-Japan. We're all square playing the 10th end, and it is Canada with the hammer. So Japan need to take advantage of the no-tick rule, and first mistake. It means Canada are able to tick that. They can't remove it from play, but they can tick it to the side. Whereas if that was touching the centre line, they wouldn't be able to play the tick. So a mistake from Japan early on.
Team Canada will be really chuffed to see that. But they will need to take advantage here. Try and remove that stone from the centre of the ice.
Max Cinnamon's had a great game tonight. Can he make the tick? Oh, does touch the barrier. So it will be replaced. As we see all the scores, Italy and Korea 5-all in the 10th end. We're 7-all on sheet B. Scotland 5-3 up on Germany, and United States 8-7 on Norway. So as well as still looking for that 4th spot for the playoffs, the countries are also looking at staying up in the A division for the Worlds, top 6 plus the host. The rest will have to go to the World Junior B qualifier.
Trying to get some separation in their guards here. However,
Still doesn't touch the centre line.
so that both those stones could be played, tried to be tipped to the side of the rings, tried to be. However, Team Canada opting to leave them as they believe the double peel, removing both stones from the play, is the easier call on their next stone. So trying to get to the top 4 first here.
Okay, wait on me. Wait on me. Hard then, boys. As long as it goes. Hard. Come on, boys. Come on, boys.
They want to take it as far in as they can so it doesn't act as a guard for Japan.
Really sweeping hard here.
And at this stage early on in the end, could Japan put a high guard on the 2 yellows to save that double peel?
Definitely. They could either play the high guard here and try and save those 2 yellows like you said, or place this one on the top of the button and then potentially try and guard it for the rest of the end.
It's still a long way to go in the end to just guard one lonely stone.
This stone seems to have been swept potentially too far. Just sliding to the back of the forefoot here. We have loved that to have been the top of the button to give Canada less of a chance in their final stone.
Michael Keenan looking for the peel on both yellows. Just like that. And that goes back to the stone positioning of the lead. With the new rule, the no tick and the free guard zone, you have to take advantage. When your peel's without hammer.
So now we'll see Japan try and play as many guards and make it as difficult for Team Canada to try and remove all the stones in play.
Having to work this one.
Okay.
You got it. Nice easy throw here.
Played a great double peel with his first. Just a single this time. And no problem.
So we will see this sequence of shots played for probably 2 or 3 shots here. Japan hoping for a mistake and leaving the guard in front so that Canada cannot get to the forefoot.
Okay.
Well played.
Like 7-8?
Yeah. If you just peel, that's fine.
Great.
Canada are going to try and remove both these stones. However, happy to miss on the high side here, just removing the guard.
Whoa, whoa.
Kai McCauley,
Roll it the other way. Roll it the other way. Roll it the other way.
tight of line and has left a guard. So that's a glimmer of hope for Japan.
That's the mistake that Japan were looking for. Hoping to try and get 2 centre guards up here and force Team Canada to play a very tough shot to win this game.
ちょい曲がりそう。いや、あんま伸ばしたくないよ。あんま伸ばしたくない。あんま伸ばしたくはない。
Maybe a bit too far and left the double peel.
They would have been hoping that guard would have been just over the hog line, making it as hard as possible for the double peel.
Kai McCauley, chance to make up for the first mistake. Just the one.
Yeah, ラストじゃね？ラストだね。オッケー。こっちから行く？さっきからずっとこっちだよ。そうね。
So do Japan play one more guard?
I would suggest that Team Japan need to try and play one more guard, yes, in hope that Canada try and come around, get there first, and potentially slip deep with their draw, allowing Japan to play the freeze to the stone.
So first of the skip stones at this 10th end. Canada have got last stone. Japan need to steal. This one's sliding on. They're just waiting for it to stop.
Team Canada now have to decide whether they play the double peel and try and remove both the guards, or get to the forfeit first, opting to play the double peel here and potentially touch the back yellow of the forfeit.
Kenan Whiff just settling himself in the hack. There's a lot of noise in the arena this evening. Would love to lift both these guards. It's close. And onto the shot. Really well played.
An amazing shot there by Kenan Whiff, opening up scoring zone, removing some of the guards and the counter at the back of the forfeit.
Just a fantastic result. And now even if Japan come perfectly round into the forfeit, the red top 12 is very usable for Canada. So Nakahara Toa just discussing the weight with these sweepers. This needs to be buried.
Trying to get behind those two guards, but be in that forfeit as much as he can to limit the scoring zone for Team Canada.
What a great draw. Right into the forfeit, buried. And now they have asked the question. It's all they can do.
Alright, I had a 39, but I think with their rotation it comes down more.
I still like that 48. Yeah. Similar to what you've been doing.
Kenan with 50% for his 7 draws tonight.
A fraction less?
Japan really couldn't have placed that draw in a better spot here.
So exhale of breath. And to put Canada through to the semi-finals of this World Junior Championship.
I didn't think you were heavy.
Line's okay.
Just let it.
All you. Gotta move.
Wait on me.
Gotta curl. Curl.
It's high of line at the moment. It's on the yellow guard. Trying to curl it off. Oh my goodness. It's caught the guard. And it's a steal for Japan. And Canada will have to wait in agony to watch the rest of the scores on the other sheets to see what will happen. What a great draw by Nakahara Toa for Japan. Ask the questions. We can see Italy, Korea 5-all on sheet A. Japan win 8-7 over Canada. Scotland 5-3 winners over Germany. And Norway 12-8 over USA. If Korea win, they will go through as the fourth place team. But Canada, my goodness, what an end to the game. They really controlled from the third end onwards. But Japan asked a question and Canada didn't play shot.